Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is a beautiful, sunshiny, blue sky, 28-degree day out today. I looked at the temperature just before I got on, and I was like, it looks a lot warmer than that out there, but it's not. So, bundle up. Our devotional today starts with a scripture from the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Since you have been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. The title of today's devotional is The Best Is Yet to Come. It reads, do you feel as if your best years have passed you by? Hogwash. You will do your best work in heaven. Do you regret wasting seasons of life on foolish pursuits? Well, so do I. But we can stop our laments. We have an eternity to make up for lost time. Are you puzzled by the challenge of your days? Then see yourself as an uncut jewel and God as the lapidary. He is polishing you for your place in His kingdom. Your biggest moments lie ahead, on the other side of the grave. So seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Colossians 3:1. Scripture uses a starchy word here. Zetiety, which means to seek, is to covet earnestly, to strive after, to inquire for, to desire, and even require. Seek heaven the way a sailor seeks the coast, or a pilot seeks the landing strip, or a missile seeks heat. Head for home the way a pigeon wings to the nest, or the prodigal strode to his papa. Think only about it, it says in verse 2. Keep your mind on it. Another translation of verse 2. Set your sights on the realities of heaven, it says in verse 1. Pursue the things over which Christ presides. Another translation. Obsess yourself with heaven. The best is yet to come. Now, I started thinking this morning when I read this one and started praying about it, heaven is the ultimate goal, let's face it. I mean, we're kind of in a waiting room, waiting for our number to be called. Do you remember when Brahms used to have those little things you would walk in? Maybe they still do it, some of them. And you would pull out this little ticket and you would wait for them to call your number. And there were different types of businesses that had those, I know, but the one that I remember is the ones at Brahms. And that's kind of like we are here on earth. We're doing all we can do to stay occupied, to stay productive, to stay useful. We talked about this Sunday night. I don't want to outlive my usefulness. Not my youthfulness. I've already outlived that. But my usefulness. I don't want to live beyond the years where I'm still useful to God and to the people that I love and care about. But we're to kind of like in that waiting room, waiting to go to heaven. Waiting for our number to finally get called. And you know how you would stand there in Brahms and you would get a little bit impatient, and you would shuffle from one foot to the other. Think back before cell phones, when you didn't have your phone to stare at while you waited in line and scroll through. You would just kind of shuffle back and forth and get impatient and maybe sigh, great big, waiting for your turn. And, the lady 2 people ahead of you seems to be taking forever to do what they need to do. Well, that's kind of like I think about us being here on earth. But instead of shuffling on our feet back and forth, we're supposed to be doing work of the kingdom. We're supposed to be doing kingdom work while we're here. We're supposed to be telling other people about Jesus. We're supposed to be sharing the light and the love and the light of Jesus Christ everywhere that we go. And it talks about, do you feel as if your best years have passed you by? Well, I agree. That's hogwash. There is so much that we can still do, even in our senior moments, even as we get wiser, through the years. There is so much that we can still do. I know on Sunday we had 2 or 3 families that were missing, and I reached out and checked on all of them to make sure that everything was okay, and maybe they just overslept, maybe they were doing a Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving something somewhere. Well, that's something everybody can do. That's not just the pastor's job to check on the other members of the church. That's the church's job as well, to reach out, to check on people, to make sure everybody is okay, to offer to pray for them, to send a card that says, we missed you. You can still do so much. I don't care if you come strolling in a wheelchair. If your arms still work, you can still write a card. You can still dial a phone. You can still reach out to someone with an email or a text or whatever. If you're one of those people that says, I just don't like talking on the phone, well, send them a text, send them an email, send them a real life card. Those cards mean so much. People devalue and underestimate the value of an actual card arriving in the mail, with my name on it. If I get something with my name on it and it didn't come from Amazon, I feel really special. I told y'all before, I still have a card sitting in my kitchen window that somebody gave me at Easter. Somebody from our church brought it to me at Easter. It's still sitting right there in the windowsill where I see it every time I look outside, every time I wash my hands, every time I'm doing dishes. I see that card, and it lifts me up, and it puts a smile on my face. I may have it until next Easter sitting there, as long as it doesn't fall into the sink. So, write a card to somebody. Cards are not that expensive, and they've become kind of a lost art. It used to be somebody would send cards out for all occasions. Now, it seems like it's a huge chore to mail out Christmas cards. Now, I understand that's not everybody's ministry, but it could be yours, or it could be picking up the phone and checking on somebody. People like to know that they're missed. I have heard people that have said, I went to such and such church for, 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever. I missed 5 Sundays in a row, and that nobody even called to check on me. I suddenly realized that nobody even noticed when I was there. Now, that probably wasn't true. They probably were noticed that they weren't there, but no one reached out to share that sentiment that they noticed. We've got to notice people. We've got to see people. And when we see people, we've got to reach out to them with the love of Jesus Christ. And I just, yes, the best is yet to come when we get to heaven. But what can we do for God while we're still here? How can we make a difference while we're still here? It says you've got years to make it up. Yes, you've got all of eternity. But why waste time? Why not get a jump start on it? Why not have less to make up for when you get there because of what you're doing today? Who can you reach out to today? You can start small. You can start by just, checking on one person that you noticed wasn't there. You can spread it out over a whole week. If you noticed, 5 people weren't there, check on one every day that week. You have no idea what it means to people to realize that they were missed, that somebody noticed that they weren't there. And let's face it, when most of us get into church, and me because I have to, but everyone, when they get into church, they gravitate towards the same seat every Sunday. So all you've got to do is get a picture in your mind's eye of Sunday sanctuary, and you'll know who was missing. I certainly do. What can we do? And especially right now in this holiday season. People, we're in December. Christmas is going to be here before you know it. The Christmas dinner theater is a week from Sunday. I can't believe that we're already there. We're already collecting gifts for the families that we've adopted from the local schools. We're already collecting food to hand out, in our Advent boxes. It's time. If we were ever going to show the love and the light of Christ, this is the time. This is the time for us to start on that realization that, yes, the best is yet to come. We can give. We can give of our time. We can give of our attention, just as we can give of our resources. Obsess yourself with heaven. The best is yet to come. You know what? I've said it many, many times. I don't want to get to heaven feeling all rested and refreshed. I want to get to heaven being worn out, wrung out, and knowing that I have done everything I could do while I was still here. The best is yet to come. I love that. And I love you all. And I hope that you have a wonderfully blessed day today. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out and let me know. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.